Downing Street meeting as a good moment in history. Seagate, the Tánaiste appeals to financial institutions to consider the workers' plight. A former childcare worker is found guilty on charges of attempted buggery. The protocol on greenhouse gases, environmentalists say it could make things worse. Good evening and welcome. The British Prime Minister has told Gerry Adams at Downing Street that Sinn Féin now has a historic choice between violence and despair or peace and progress. Tony Blair, along with the Northern Secretary, met Mr Adams and a Sinn Féin delegation for 55 minutes this afternoon. A spokesman for Mr Blair said the meeting was constructive and positive. Mr Adams said it was a good moment in history.
Gerry Adams and the Sinn Féin delegation arrived at the gates of Downing Street about 20 minutes before their 2 o'clock appointment with the Prime Minister. Across the road in Whitehall, Republican demonstrators shouted their support. A few yards from them, a pro-loyalist counter-demonstration. Both sides had been billing it as an historic occasion, the first time in 3/4 of a century that a Republican leader had crossed the threshold of number 10. But just before that, Gerry Adams paused to speak to Rita Restorick. She gave him a Christmas card with a picture of her son Stephen. He was killed by an IRA sniper earlier this year. He was the last British soldier to die in the north before the restoration of the IRA ceasefire. Then, a few moments for the cameras. Just a few hours earlier, Gerry Adams had told RTE's Morning Ireland that he wished good luck to Liam Averill, the IRA man who escaped from the maze yesterday. Apparently, the escape was barely raised at today's meeting.
What about yesterday's escape, though? Was that specifically raised?
There was no lengthy discussion about that at all, Brian.
Was it raised?
And I didn't think there would have been.
Are you anything the wiser emerging?
We shouldn't underestimate the difficulties. At the same time, this was a good moment in history, because usually the moments in Anglo-Irish relationships in history are bad moments. Today was a significantly good moment. I would dearly love David Trimble to move into a positive leadership mode and to meet with us in whatever format he wants, so that we can build a future along with all of the other parties, with the two governments, in which everyone can feel secure.
But shortly after that, the Ulster Unionists were making it clear that that meeting wasn't going to happen.
Well, the Ulster Unionists won't be meeting any member of the IRA until such times as there is an expression of remorse, there is a disbandment of their organisation, and there is a disarmament process.
The meeting took place around the cabinet table and it lasted just under an hour. Tony Blair shook hands with Martin McGuinness and Gerry Adams when they came in. In his opening remarks, the Prime Minister said to Gerry Adams, "It's important I can look you in the eye and hear you say that you remain committed to peaceful means." According to sources here, Gerry Adams then restated his commitment to the Mitchell principles. Later, Tony Blair told Sinn Féin that he did not see his job as being a persuader for a united Ireland. A further meeting has yet to be arranged. Brian O'Connell, RTE News, Downing Street.
And Mr Blair has defended his decision to meet the Sinn Féin president in Downing Street. In an interview with our Northern editor, the British Prime Minister was asked if he thought Sinn Féin was sincere about peace.
Well, I'm sure that they must want peace in Northern Ireland. I'm sure they must, because I can't believe any sane person looking at how the situation has arisen over the years can want anything other than to bring up their children with some semblance of normality and stability and security. Now, I can't look inside people's minds, but it was important, I think, to have the face-to-face meeting. The criticism that there is, well, you know, you always get criticisms for these things, but if we don't try and reach out to people in the name of humanity and get them talking together, then we will just allow the whole process to slip back again.
But you must understand the depth of feelings among people. You felt it at first hand yourself in Conswater on your visit to Belfast, that meetings like this do arouse.
Yes, I do, but I think it's tremendously important that we get back this process from the extremists on either side who will say, don't talk, don't listen, don't understand the history, don't bother with the other tradition, they're alien to our tradition. We can go on in that way, but what a futile thing to do.
Is it not ironic that you can engage with Sinn Féin when they can't engage with the largest party in Northern Ireland, the Ulster Unionists?
Well, I hope very much that there is a process of engagement over time. I mean, it's been difficult. You know, I mean, these things are, you know, you live with the weight of the history of them the whole time. But the whole purpose of having this talks process is so that we can get some engagement. I think there is progress being made. It's never as quick as you want, but, you know.
Did you sense the history in that room today?
Of course, you do sense that. But you sense most of all the responsibility not to end up being chained to the history. You should recognise the history but not live in it.
The Tánaiste has said the government will view with